Tremendous. You say he's showed no effects. Obviously, we've only had 2 days of practice, but I think the medical staff and Leif have done a really good job of being overly cautious, and he has not done, his workload probably our first 3 months wasn't anything at all, and then just gradually start doing more and more, whether it was bike work, being able to dribble a basketball, being able to shoot a little bit on it, but he looks really good. Obviously, he's like a lot of guys. You got to continue to get in better shape and those things, but we got plenty of time to do that. But he and Kyle just have a terrific feel. They have a great basketball IQ, and so when you got both of them out there, that really helps.
Is Jordan on track to be ready for the opener?
Oh yeah. He was full go on the first day, and then we backed him off a little bit on the second day. He's full go again today. So, I think we'll try to do that pattern for maybe 1 to 2 weeks, and then he'll be full go after that every day. But we're really trying to factor all that in. We're not going any more than 4 or 5 days in a row the way it is. Sometimes it's 2 days in a row. I think the way it looks like right now, we'll through a 6-week practice plan here, we'll probably have 2 days off each week the way it is. So that works out really good for Jordan. And if we feel like he needs more, then we'll give him more.
What do you know about this job now that you didn't know back in March and April?
Well, I thought the weather was really good. I had no idea it was this good. Been 6 months.
That's not the job, though.
6 months. Well, that's where I work. It's where I work, and so it's a lot of fun, coming to work every day, and I don't worry about the rain. I don't worry about bad weather, so that's been a little bit different. Nothing really. It's my 23rd year. I've been doing this a long time, and so it's really, other than the rules changing a little bit, and those seem to change a lot now, but other than the rules changing here in September, it hasn't been, it's my 5th time I've taken over a new job, so getting your team ready, then organizing recruiting and getting people in line from academics to sports information to travel to of just how you like doing things. The first year, there's always a transition period, but I've done that 5 times already, so that's no different. It was 6 years ago. I haven't had to worry about that going into a season.
Looking at the ESPN recruiting list, the top 100 they have, it struck me that the top 10 guys on that list didn't have UCLA as among their schools that they had shortened it to. What do you have to do to get those level of recruits having UCLA on their list?
I'm not for sure. We'll look at that stuff. That's one ranking. You can look at other rankings, and those will vary. There's so many rankings that are out there, but as far as one thing we've been able to do here in 6 months, we haven't had any problem getting guys interested to look at UCLA. So that's what our brand is about. And when you start looking at the history and tradition of UCLA, that's a pretty easy brand to sell. So the guys that we've been on, those are guys that we've really wanted to actively recruit. If there's 10 guys on that list that, for whatever reason, aren't interested in UCLA, or you just move on. If you're talking about rankings, the 15th ranked guy might be more available and a better player than the 8th ranked guy. So we don't pay a whole lot of attention to that, other than getting names and seeing what's going to fit into the puzzle that we're putting together. And I can tell you, going into almost the 1st of October, we're real excited about how that puzzle's looking. There's still a lot of pieces that have to go into that. But I like where recruiting's going, not just in 14, but 15 and 16.
But no, this is not about the guys you're interested in, because I know you want to look what's best for your team. But you're talking about 10 prominent guys, and that listed Duke and Kentucky and schools like that, as schools that when they're interested. It's just UCLA used to be kind of in that group, and I didn't know if you felt that needs to be bumped up.
Yeah, that's hard. I don't know how to answer that, because what rankings are you talking about? When I played in the 80s, they didn't even rank players, and yet the Indianas of the world and Kentuckys or Dukes or UCLA, they still had success. We know what we want to do in recruiting and how we want to attack recruiting, and through 6 months, that's been a lot, because part of recruiting, I think, when you take a new job, is making sure you recruit your current team. And we only had 6 guys on scholarship, and all 6 of those guys stayed. And to be honest with you, all 6 of them could have left. So we had to spend about the first month just recruiting those guys. And I'm very thankful for them because they've bought in. They're trusting what we're doing. We're building trust in them. And then you just branch out from there. And those things have gone really, really well. But like what you're mentioning, I don't even know if I could stand here before you and tell you who those 10 guys are you're talking about. I would know them if you told me their names, but I don't look at it that we're recruiting this guy that's ranked 6th or this guy that's ranked 25th, or Mateen Cleaves, he wasn't ranked. There were a lot of guys that I played and coached against in the Big Ten that weren't ranked that ended up being really good players. So sometimes those rankings, they work out, sometimes they don't. But I do think just in a short time, most of the top players in the country have got UCLA on their list of at least consideration, and that's been good.
Any update on Isaac and Arwana's eligibility this year?
No. As far as eligibility, no update. We're waiting to hear on Wana, and hopefully get information on that very quickly. And then Isaac just started class. Was it Thursday? I think we just started on Thursday. So that process will probably take probably a little bit longer maybe than Wana's. Again, that's on the NCAA. I don't know their time frame on it, but obviously for Wana and Isaac's case, I hope it's sooner than later.
It seems like Wana, that's something that could happen soon.
I hope so. I hope so. And when you're looking at some of these other cases that are coming forward and eligibilities are being restored, we're hopeful. But again, that's in the hands of the NCAA, so we just got to wait and see.
What's his health like right now?
Wana's, he's probably 3 weeks away. If I'm just reading into the doctor's reports and talking to Leif, I'd say he's probably 3 weeks away from being released to do some things, and probably 4 to 5 of being 100%. So, hopefully we can get a ruling on him to see just how more aggressive. If it's not a favorable ruling, the aggressiveness of it may back off a little bit. But hopefully we get a favorable ruling so that that rehab can aggressively continue to take place.
Have you been able to get an idea of what you have in Wana, even though he's been hurt, or is that something?
Not a lot, because this happened right when he got to campus. So I don't know the date of when he had the surgery, but he hasn't done a whole lot since joining our family because of the injury. So we obviously know about him because we saw him play in high school and those type of things. And he just adds to our inside, which, that's where we got some concerns because we're not real deep on the front court. You've got the Ware twins and you've got Tony. So Wana would really help with the depth of our front court. Very athletic. Very good presence. He can play mostly inside, but he can go to the perimeter as well and play. So he gives you a big man that's a little versatile like the Ware twins.
Through a couple of practices, have you gotten any clarity on the point guard situation?
No, I think we got some guys that we can put out there. Obviously, I think Kyle is somebody that can play that position. Of the freshmen, Bryce can play that position. Zach can play it, but Zach's a scoring guard, and I want him to kind of be in that position. We don't really label guys, and never have labeled guys. If you look at my teams at New Mexico, as recent as New Mexico, you'd say we played some years 3-point guards. One year we played Darrington Hobson. He was a point forward. Last year you'd probably say we had no point guards. And Kendall Williams, Tony Snell, and Hugh Greenwood, none of those three are prototype point guards. And yet, the ball control end of it's pretty good. We don't turn the ball over. We want to play up tempo. So, I think we can go with a lot of versatility. We're very early into this process, so the next 6 weeks will tell how combinations. We'll play a lot of combinations in practice to see how things go. But I'm not real worried about handling the ball and getting our offense started. I think we'll have plenty of guards that are able to do that.
Whether he plays this season or next, is the plan for him to play point guard or shooting guard?
We'll just see. The plan is he'll do both. He's going to play all the guard positions, just like if you asked me that about Kyle, I'd tell you the same thing. Norman, he's probably not going to play a lot of point position, but he can bring the ball up. If Norman rebounds, he's got the freedom to bring it up. Bryce can play a lot of positions. Zach can play a lot of positions. Noah can play a lot of positions. Noah wouldn't be a point guard, but he can play the other guard positions. So we don't, I know everybody likes labeling kids. I've never been a big labeler because I think then you take away from what they might develop into. I was a point guard coming out of high school. I played very little point guard in college. I was I guess shooting guard, you might say, and then others might say I was a forward at times, as much as I spent on the baseline. And then I go to the league and I got to be a point guard again. So, you know, I'm more than labeling. I want to see how these guys enjoy the offense and where they fit in the best, or where we can use their skill set, where we can use them the best to make them look the best.
And looking at the personnel, have you given thought to what kind of defense you want to run with these guys?
Well, I've mostly been a man guy. I think you know we'll be able to play some more zone just because of some of the lineups we can put out there. You know, if you look at the Ware twins and/or Tony, any combination of those two bigs, and then guys like Norman, Jordan, Kyle, that's a really big lineup. So we got the versatility of going big. We got the versatility of being long and athletic. So I think we may mix things up a little bit more to where we'll probably work on zone defenses and offenses a little bit more. Pac-12 has a little bit more of that going on than the Mountain West Conference. There's a little bit more teams that will play zone, and so we'll probably prepare for that a little bit more than what we normally do.
You talked about recruiting your own guys when you first got here. What type of approach did you take with that?
With our guys here, just getting to know them, communicating them, spend time with them. They were in class at the time, so having them in the office to sit down and talk with them and just get to know them, let them get to know us. You know, everybody, but I think Tyus was new. So just getting them in the office where we got a chance to get to know them, watching some tape, and thankfully that, you know, that trust has been built to where I think they'd tell you that they're enjoying things to this point because things that were told to them kind of 6 months ago, those things are happening. And so that's how you build the trust, just open lines of communication, and I think we did that.
Is that what you sold mostly, just the trust?
Well, there's nothing else to sell. We other than, you know, we were on the floor when we were doing individual workouts. They got to see us through our development phase. You get to see, you know, if they like the way we're teaching the game of basketball and if the style's going to fit. And I think, so what we did in individual workouts, they were able to see that as well.
You ever had a roster that had so many, it seems like when you look at the roster, it's a lot more wings than necessarily big men or pure point guards. I know you don't like to label, but have you ever had a roster where you had so many kind of athletic wings as opposed to other positions?
You know, last year's team, you know, my last year's team, again, I don't know if you'd say any of those guys are point guards. And we had Hugh Greenwood at 6'3", about 205 pounds. We had Kendall Williams, who was more of an off guard. Tony Snell was more of an off guard. You know, we've played four guards before. We've played the traditional two bigs that aren't center. One's not a center. Like if you play the Wares together, I don't know if you'd say either one of those are a center. They're forwards. They're big forwards. You put Tony Parker in there, that's more of a legit center. So you got different varieties that you can play, and I think that's always more of a benefit. And I've probably had more teams along those lines than just your typical center, power forward, swing guard, shooting guard, point guard. You know, I usually don't label guys like that. And the way we run our system, offensively and defensively, they don't need to be labeled. And, you know, again, if you just look at veterans and you pick and choose the bigs that you want to put in there, the Ware twins plus Tony, and then you look at Kyle, Jordan, and Norman, just your vets that are coming back, it's a pretty big lineup. And immediately I like the matchup problems that could cause, and yet we have a lot of other different ways we can go with, you know, freshmen that are energized, freshmen that can score, freshmen that can handle it. It's just like a lot of freshmen. Our freshmen are learning guarding and playing against 22 and 23-year-olds, where the last couple of years they've been going against 15 to 17-year-olds. That's a transition period, and they're going through that.
Ideally, what type of role do you envision Kyle having on this team?
Big role, because he'll play any of four positions. He'll play any of the three guard positions, and we'll play him at forward as well because he's arguably one of our best rebounders. So tremendous feel. So Kyle's going to be on the floor a lot, and he'll be very versatile in what we do. He'll be involved. He'll have the ball in ball screens. He'll be the screener in ball screens. He'll bring the ball up some. He'll run as a big guard, so we'll post him. So there's going to be a lot of, I think you'll see a lot of versatility in the way we're going to use him.
Any more guys? Last one?
With recruiting, how big of an emphasis is it going to be for you guys to stay home in the 2015, 2016 class with, you know, talent being so high in Southern California?
Last time I think I did see a Yankee hat. So you've switched? You've switched since one didn't make the playoffs and the others did? All right, I got you. recruiting your home, and I think that's what's been exciting for us and a change for us, having a place that has so much talent. And Southern California has incredible amount of talent. So building those relationships, continue to build those relationships, whether it be AAU coaches, high school coaches, and then letting those prospective student athletes, those recruits, get to see who we are, meet who we are, get them on campus, unofficial visits, come to practice, see our style. Those things are in place now and will continue over this year. And I think once we get to playing games and that becomes a little bit more evident, you're going to see that. But definitely even concluding the 14 class into the 15, 16, there's a heavy emphasis there just because there's so much talent.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.